Even here. I'm Jeff Stein with today's Iowa Politics Report. Shortly before the pandemic, about 3.5 years ago now, I attended a funeral in Des Moines at a downtown synagogue. The temple was some distance from the cemetery, and as is customary in cities of size, there was a police escort for the funeral procession, including officers at designated intersections directing traffic. That explained the police cars outside, I thought. I did see a uniformed officer in the hallway outside where the service itself was to be held, but I did not think much of it at the time, figuring he was just part of traffic control. But he remained in place as the procession lined up, which then led me to think he was on duty inside the synagogue for a reason. I asked a few friends in Des Moines afterwards if this was commonplace, or if officers would be at other worship sites for funerals, etc., but no one I talked to had any information. Soon after the pandemic hit, and I did not think much more about it. Then this past Friday, I got word that services for a Jewish congregation in Mason City, scheduled for that evening, had to be canceled. It seems they tried to hire an off-duty officer from the area to provide protection, but when no officers were available, they canceled the worship. Let that sink in for a minute. A group of people in Iowa believed that the threat to their safety solely because of their faith was significant enough that they'd prefer to cancel services than risk being vulnerable. Of all the fundamental principles of this democratic republic, the right to freely practice your faith without fear of government interference is above all, and to do it without fear for your life. The next day came word that a Detroit synagogue president was stabbed to death outside her home. Now, officials are not prepared to say that the killing was faith-related, but Michigan is a state where the governor's response to the Hamas terror attack was far less than full support for Israel. We'd like to think that no place in Iowa is like Detroit. We'd like to think that, but in these troubled times, I'm far less certain. And that's the Iowa Politics Report for Tuesday, October 24. On Twitter, Instagram, Getter, Threads, and Truth Social at Iowa Politics. I'm Jeff Stein on News Talk 1540, KXEL.